I don't recommend going into any deal with no money because it's just not smart to do. I mean, you want to have that safety cushion. I just try to surround myself with positive people, do positive things, and be a positive person myself. And just because, mindset I feel like mindset is like a big thing. I feel like, if you put your mind to something, I feel like you can do anything really. So it all just starts in your mind.
Everything is possible. Just hustle. Just hustle.
The $1 Million Hustle Podcast, where we keep it real, unstated entrepreneurship wisdom. Learn to think like a millionaire and hustle like you're broke. Here's your host, Billy the Kid, aka Billionaire.
Everything is possible. Just hustle. Just hustle. Everything is possible. Just hustle. Hustle.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the $1 Million Hustle Podcast, baby. It's your boy, Billy the Kid, a.k.a. BDK, a.k.a. Billionaire in this mug. And first of all, man, I'm super excited about the interview today. I just got done with Jamar Hudson, and he is making a name for himself, man. There's so many gems that he dropped in this interview. He's super young. And if you've been looking for some motivation, this is it right here. This was amazing. On the short time that he's been doing the stuff that he's doing, he is killing the game. And just, his story overall, I don't want to give you too much, but just his story overall and the things that he had to overcome to get to where he's at is amazing. And if you don't find motivation in that, man, then you're just a hater, I'll tell you what. So make sure you guys go to billythekid.com and leave me your email. If you leave me your email, I'm actually mailing out a free autographed CD. So just drop it off. Just leave me your email at billythekid.com and I'll send you a free CD. And also, The Power of Being Uncomfortable, my book is out right now. So make sure you guys go cop that. But I want to touch on. He mentioned a few books in the podcast, and I just want to go over Rich Dad Poor Dad real quick as book of the week, because Rich Dad Poor Dad is definitely a life-changing book. The mindset behind it is just so crazy. It's eye-opening, and if you haven't listened to it, man, check it out. And it'll literally tell you two sides, the rich and the poor. And really, at that point, you have a choice. You can make a choice on what side you want to play. So that's the book of the week. Check it out. Other than that, again, I am super excited. I mentioned it on one of the last episodes. I just sold out on my one-on-one. So I want to thank everybody out there supporting everything that I do, man. It means the world. Because without you guys, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, man. So it's kind of cool to see and feel like I'm living my dream, man. And it's thanks to you guys. So I truly appreciate that. Today, I went to Omaha. Shout out to Colin, man, out there in Omaha. I visited his new building. It was amazing. And then right now I just did this podcast, and then I got a one-on-one here that I'm gonna jump on. And then after that, man, I got my mastermind meetup today. So again, it's literally, truly a dream to be doing the stuff that I'm doing. So thanks to everybody supporting. But other than that, man, I want to jump right in with Jamar because his story is amazing. It's relatable. I related a lot to it because I've gone through the struggles, and it's truly amazing that he has overcome that. But enough of that, man. Let's get to it. Here is Jamar. Jamar, what's good, bro?
What's going on?
How you doing?
Living the dream.
Man, it's funny because I've been seeing you, man. I've been watching you. The growth is awesome, man. And I know we're going to touch on all that. But it's funny because we saw each other at Menards a couple times here the last couple weeks, huh?
I feel like every time I go to Menards, I see you there.
And those of you watching who might not know what Menards is, it's like a Home Depot, like a Midwest thing for a Home Depot. But anyways, I want to get to your story, man, because it's short right now. Like this year, I mean, you've been putting so much work that things have just elevated, man. And it's incredible for somebody at your age to be doing the stuff that you're doing. So I can't wait to dive deep into everything that you got going on. But at the beginning, I like to take it way back. So if you could let us know, where are you from? And how was it coming up, growing up? So if you could go ahead and give us your story real quick.
All right. So, yeah, I'm from Grand Island, Nebraska. It's about an hour, it's about 90 minutes away from Lincoln, Nebraska, where I'm at now. I moved to Lincoln about 2017, shortly after I graduated high school. So I've been in Lincoln about 5 years now. When I first moved to Lincoln, I didn't like have any interest in real estate really at all. I was just working at a meat packing plant, making like $15 an hour, going to barber school. When I first moved to Lincoln, that's what I did. I got my barber license. So I was working at the meat packing plant, going to barber school, got my barber license, and then just really decided that wasn't enough for me. I wasn't really satisfied with making, $30, $40 every 30 minutes or 60 minutes to do a haircut. So I got into real estate. So I actually got into real estate about 9 months ago. Actually, January of this year, I did my I was always like interested in getting my real estate license, but I ended up getting into like the investing side of real estate before I actually ended up getting my license. I started off by wholesaling real estate. So I actually did my very first wholesale deal in January of this year. And for those of you that don't know what wholesaling is, it's basically you find a property, you put it under contract, and then you assign that contract for a little bit of money essentially to a end buyer that actually ends up fixing up the property and then flipping it or keeping it or whatever. So yeah, I did my very first wholesale deal. I think it was like January 27th of this or January 28th of this year. I made $3,000 off of that. And then my second deal, actually, I think I did, when was it? Did that one just shortly after I did that deal, and it was actually with you, Billy. I assigned that to Billy for, I think I made like $7,500 on that deal, and then I did a couple more wholesale deals after that. Another one actually with Billy, I signed a fourplex to him and made a little bit of money off of that. And then I just got to thinking, I'm like, man, I want more, So then I got to doing a little bit of research. I ended up going to a couple local real estate investment meetups here in Lincoln. Met a few cool people, got in touch with some lenders actually. And then I started doing the fixing and flipping. So, I still wholesale on the side now. But right now I'm working on a couple fix and flips. I actually closed my very first fix and flip. When was that? I closed my first fix and flip actually in May of this year. So just a couple months ago. Right now I'm putting my second fix and flip up on the market tomorrow. Actually, it goes live. So yeah, it's been a short process, but it's been really, really active. I think I got my real estate license as well 2 months ago. So I'm also a licensed real estate agent now with Modern Real Estate. But I mean, like I said, I just gotten like interested in real estate like a year ago, and I closed my first wholesale deal like 6 months ago, and to where I'm at now, it's crazy. I made a shit ton of money. I met a lot of cool people, and yeah, it's what I feel like I'll be doing for a long time now. So.
Well, let me start there. It's funny because you just said, oh, that's something that I'm going to do for a while now. Are you though? Because what I love is that the ambition, you said you did this and then it's like, okay, I want a little more, right? You got your barber's license. That wasn't enough. Can you talk a little bit about ambition, just for any youngsters out there listening that, any tips that you could give them on just ambition overall, any music that you listen to that you bump that, gives you that ambition?
So I mean, I get my ambition, from well, I read a lot of books that gives me a lot of ambition, and honestly, the people that I surround myself with, a lot of like, investor millionaires here in Lincoln, that gives me a lot of ambition, to make me want to do better, seeing what they're doing. And I mean, my wife, she gives me a lot of ambition, but I mean, I don't just knowing what I come from in the past is really, and what my family comes from is really the main reason that I do everything that I do. My mom, single mom, growing up, 3 kids. We lived in fucking probably a 600 square foot apartment with 3 of us, didn't really get anything that we wanted. We only got everything that we only, absolutely needed. So that's, just that's really the main thing that keeps me going. But yeah, the books, the people that I surround myself, and those other things also are really ambitious too.
And you mentioned growing up. That was one of the questions I wanted to ask you with your story. Obviously, coming where you're coming from, what was it growing up? Was there any teachings on entrepreneurship or investing or how did you want more? Like, I remember as a kid, I used to play with toy cars, and in my head, I'm like, oh, someday I'm gonna have a big old house, right? And I'm gonna pull up in this nice little car that I had. What was that for you?
As a kid, probably just like I don't I don't know. That's a like say it again.
So basically, just overall growing up, was there any teaching for entrepreneurship or investing or just money in general? And if overall, how did you get to dreaming big, if that makes sense? Like I said, with me, it was the little cars, right?
Mhm.
I would picture myself, oh, someday I'm going to have a real car that looks like this, or, the house or whatever. So what was it for you?
Yeah, see, honestly, I didn't have any like teachings growing up. It's just recently, it all kind of like hit me, just like I said, just the past couple years. I mean, yeah, I didn't really have any like teachings growing up, but like just recently, it's, I just really been in a business mindset, just because I've always, I just want to do more with myself. And when I was 17 actually, I caught my first felony. So, a lot of things went downhill from there. And I thought, I thought I wasn't ever going to be anything good. And, when you're a felon, it's hard. You can't get a job. It's hard to find a place to live and things like that. So I knew I had to find a better way. I knew I had to find a better route. And luckily, real estate has blessed me recently. So
Man, I love that. I love it, man. The whole felony thing, I think that's definitely a big part of your story. And
for sure.
anybody listening that has gone through something like that, this is proof that you can get out of any situation. And if anything, I mean, you're the big things that you're doing, man, that doesn't even mean anything anymore.
And that's and yeah, like I mean, it's weird to say it, but like I tell a lot of people, the felony, might have been one of the best things that ever happened to me, because it really did, it changed a lot of things for the bad, but for the good in the long run. So like today, I don't feel like I ever would have shifted, my thinking and my mindset if I wouldn't have got hit with that felony, which really, I had to shift, because, you can't get a normal job. You can't get an everyday job. You can't live in a normal place. So you have to adjust, and you have to make things work. So, yeah.
Can you give anybody that's listening that maybe it's experiencing something similar, some ways that you just described that you mentally got out of it? What are some actions that people can take to get out of something like that mentally? Because obviously physically you got out of it, whether you went to jail or whatever, but mentally, how did you, some actions that people can take, maybe somebody that is currently going through that?
So mentally, I just try to, surround my things with, positive people, positive things. I started lifting weights, going to the gym consistently, and I met my wife. So she, that was good. But I just try to surround myself with positive people, do positive things, and be a positive person myself. And just because, mindset is it. I feel like mindset is like a big thing. I feel like, if you put your mind to something, I feel like you can do anything really. So it all just starts in your mind. So just having a good mindset, surrounding yourself by positive people, trying to do better for other people, having a positive, outlook on life is really huge too.
Man, I love that answer, bro. That's fire right there. What are some ways that I'm a big believer that mindset is something that you practice every day, right? Because I don't wake up happy every day, right? Not every day, most days, but gratitude has a lot to do with that. Also, being thankful for where you're at, it gets you out of bed so you can do bigger things with the ambition that you have for definitely. But what are some of the stuff that you do? Because with me, it's like I have my morning routine, right? In the morning, that's how I exercise my mindset. And you mentioned reading. I mean, among reading, what else do you do to keep that positive mindset?
I go to the gym. I feel like your physical and your mental health have a a touch on each other. So if you're good physically, you'll be better mentally. I feel like so. I go to the gym. Just stay active and do a lot of studying, read a lot of books, and that's about it really. I could do more. I could really do more, and I feel like I should do more, but honestly right now I'm busy doing everything that I'm doing, so I don't have a lot of time to. I mean, I could make time, but yeah, that's all I'm doing currently. But yeah, I could do more, but that's all I got right now.
Yeah, no, definitely. And among the books, if you could give us maybe your top 3 books that you read that basically changed your mindset, your life.
Yeah, so actually the first book I read, and it was the book that changed everything for me, and everybody's heard of it, I'm sure. And if you haven't heard of it, I definitely recommend you go get it and go read it. But it's called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that was really the first book that just changed like my outlook on everything. I'm like, this guy's he's right, he's got a point. And so that was the first book, and then after that I read the
And it doesn't have to be in order. It could be just Rich Dad Poor Dad. Definitely, that one sounds like it's the first one, but just
and then
3 books.
The Leverage Equation. The Leverage Equation is a really good book. And then The Millionaire Fast Lane. That was also the other book that I read that really got me going.
That Millionaire Fast Lane, man, is definitely a great book, bro. That it almost goes together with Rich Dad, right? Like it basically tells you that there's other ways. It's not just the typical 9 to 5, and there's people that walk on the sidewalk that unfortunately most people do, and that lane, man. And so yeah, that book is powerful, man. So you're definitely among great great books. What's one that you're reading right now currently?
One that I'm reading right now is actually I don't remember exactly what it's called, but I think it's Millionaire Real Estate Agent. It's by Gary Keller, I believe, because I just got my real estate license. I think it's like how to be a millionaire, how to make $1 million as something like that, millionaire real estate agent or something like that. But that's the one I'm reading right now. I'm just looking to, see like the different things that real estate agents do to, make a lot of money. But
yeah, that's definitely a good one. Can you touch a little bit more on the leverage equation?
The Leverage Equation. So that book is like, it's a different one. It's not really like necessarily real estate related. It's just like more of an outlook on life. It just teaches you to play, like both sides of the ball. Like you got to play offense and you got to play defense at the same time. It's a hard one to really explain, but the way that he puts it out in the book and makes it sound, he puts it out there really good. It's hard to explain, but yeah, it's a real good book to read. It just teaches you, how to leverage other things and, just play both sides of the ball.
And how old are you, Jamar? That's maybe something that we should have touched on at the beginning.
I'm 23 years old, and I actually turned 24 tomorrow is my birthday. So
man, well, happy early birthday, bro. I told you that yesterday at the store, but I just hope you know that that's a really short age, right? Like, you're super young right now, right? And just killing it.
I hear that a lot, but I just feel like it's what I should be doing, so.
Man, I love that, bro. Love it. Let's take it back a little bit. So with wholesaling, in the state of Nebraska, as we know, there's some changes coming up. Obviously, you already buckled up. You got your license, so you're good there no matter what. But is that something that you're going to still do? And if so, how are you going to approach it going forward?
Wholesaling? Yeah, it's still something that I plan on doing going forward. With my real estate license, I don't necessarily have to, approach it. I just have to be more conservative since I do have my license. But yeah, it's still something that I do plan on doing. If you don't have your license, you probably should get your license or work with a licensed real estate agent if you do want to continue to wholesale. But now I'm just kind of basically, since I do have my license, deals that I do lock up that are off market, more or less wholesaling them. I'll wholesale them and, throw them on the market on the MLS and market them to that big variety of buyers and just sell it that way. Or just, keep it, fix it up myself and do it.
Can you touch a little bit more on the wholesaling real quick?
Yeah, so wholesaling is basically you buy a property off market and you list it on the MLS and sell it rather than selling it off market. You can do a little bit of work to it, or you can just sell it as is on market. But the MLS is a powerful tool. It just reaches a lot more buyers than trying to sell it off market to your small group of people. So. It's a really good exit strategy to have. And that's another reason I like having my real estate license. And, as an investor, when you buy a property, you always want to go in with multiple exit strategies. If one doesn't work, you want to have a backup plan. So wholesaling is definitely a good exit strategy to have. And I like it.
Yeah. And you're killing it. Definitely killing it. And with the wholesaling, how are you finding the deals that you've done, and just going forward, what are you doing to add on to what you've already been doing? Okay,
so actually I just did a wholesale deal recently. I close on it next Friday, but it was actually an MLS deal. It was on the MLS. I got it for a cheaper price. Because I know how to negotiate. You know how to negotiate once you start, doing a lot of transactions and, figuring out what things need work and how to, put that into your negotiation process. But yeah, I locked this one up. It was on the MLS. That's a positive of having a real estate license. You find more deals that you can wholesale deals, buy them on the MLS and sell them off market, whatever. But this one, yeah, I did get on the MLS, but prior to this one that I recently found, the one that I wholesaled you, 3309 St. Paul. So I had a serving job actually at Misty Steakhouse. So when I first started wholesaling, I made some business cards, with my business on it, Hudson Properties LLC. On the back, I put, I buy houses cash, close quick. And at my serving job that I hold on the weekends, every time I'd have a table, I talk to him what I do outside of Miss. He's like, hey, outside of here, I do real estate full time. I flip houses. I'm a real estate agent, whatever. If you need anything real estate related, let me know. And I leave these cards in their book. So one time, actually, I got to talking to a table and I gave him my card and they's like, well, we got 2 properties actually that we're trying to sell. So if you're trying to buy, let's work something out. So I ended up actually buying 2 houses from them because of my serving job at Misty's, just marketing myself, advertising, because that's what you got to do in real estate. It's all about who you know. So you want to meet as many people as you can, make as many relationships as possible. So yeah, I locked up those 2 deals. One of them was St. Paul, and the other one that I bought from them was 3910 North 61st, which is actually my first fix and flip that I kept for myself. And the other one I wholesaled to you. So I did about 5 wholesale deals before I got my first fix and flip. And I used all my wholesale profits. I saved it all. I didn't blow none of it. I stacked every wholesale deal that I made. And then I invested all that money into my first fix and flip as the rehab. And I got a private money loan, to buy the house. And then all my wholesale profits I put in to fix up that house. And I ended up profiting about 40,000 off of that one in about 2 months. So,
Man,
if you play the game right, it's, just play the course, and it's real rewarding if you really, invest yourself in everything. So.
I love that, bro. There's a couple things there. So with that flip, if you don't mind going over the numbers real quick, kind of how you did it. And then you talked about hard money. If you could also touch on that, just to, the goods and the bads, and then how are you using it to your advantage without getting hurt?
Okay. So yeah, we'll touch on the numbers on that flip. So actually that flip, like I said, I got it. It was an off-market deal. I got it from a table at Misty's. Nobody knew about it. Those are the best type of deals to get. So yeah, I bought that one for $159. Good price. It was a 4-bed, 2-bath. It was about 1,400 square feet. It only needed some cosmetic updates, and so I locked that up at $159. I hit up my lender. I got a private money lender here in Lincoln. I hit him up, I ran the deal by him. I asked him because, I don't have good credit. So that's also like, I can't work with banks, but, I don't let my setbacks hold me back. I always find a way. So I'm like, there's got to be a way. And yeah, I reached out to other people, like I said, I went to the real estate investor meetings, met with other people, asked them, how are you doing your deals? And you find out about private money lenders at those meetings. So, I got in touch with the private money lender. He lended me the money for the house. I bought it for $159. I ended up putting about $28,000 into it, all said and done. So, $159, roughly $160, $28,000, all in for about $188,000, roughly. And I ended up actually selling that one on the MLS for $245. So I was all in for roughly $190 and sold it for $245. So made about around $40,000. And that was about a 3-month process altogether from purchase to close, 3 months. So yeah, I guess I'll touch on this. When I get my private money lender, you got to pay holding costs. So my private money lender charges me, 1.5% a month. So of the purchase price or the loan amount. So he loaned me, $159, 1.5% a month. That was $2,400. So I did have to pay that every month. So I ended up paying him $2,400 times 3. It's about $7,000. So, but yeah, $7,000 to borrow $160,000 to make $40,000. I'll do that all day. So then I think that's an advantage to me, until, I can't get my credit or, get my credit work done, which I'm working on right now. And then I can start working with banks, and they typically have, lower rates or whatever. But, I just got to take the steps that I need to do. So I'm not letting anything hold me back. I'm still finding ways around everything to make things work. So like I said, anything's possible, but it's a mindset thing. But yeah, you You can make things work.
Man, that's powerful, bro. Especially the bad credit, man. That's a big one
That
right
shit
there.
sucks, man. Everybody says, hey, everybody says you gotta have good credit to get into real estate. Blah blah blah. That bullshit. You don't gotta have good credit to get in real estate. You gotta have good relationships, but you don't need good credit. But it helps. It helps.
Right.
That's why I'm working on it.
That's powerful right there, bro. That's powerful. It's crazy. The more I dig into your story, man, the more I relate, right? Because everything is possible, man. Just hustle. Like I got a song called that. Like
I
it's
feel
so.
like we really, do connect in a lot of ways too. So
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I mean, you got your Benz too, man. I got my little Benz. It's funny because when I met you, like you pulled up in that thing, man, and I'm like, man, and it's dope to know that. I will say, bro, since I met you before all the deals that you've done, that was literally your first, second deal there.
yeah,
You could feel the energy, man. You were just a positive dude and just a cool dude, not trying to get over people or nothing crazy and I love that, and I feel like that energy is what's gotten you where you're at now. And just hearing every barrier that you have conquered, man, that's super dope, bro. And I hope that everybody out there listening, anybody that is going through stuff right now, man, just know that if we can do it, man, if Jamar can do it with all the crazy stuff that he's shared with us, then get off your ass and just get to it, man. Just do something, right?
exactly.
All right, bro. So one of the things that you brought up earlier was negotiating. You talked about how important that is. And I will say, man, I'll be the first one to admit that you got that skill because even the deals that me and you have done have worked out on both ends, right? So can you touch a little bit on what is it that you're doing when you negotiate with a seller?
So one thing that I do when I negotiate with a seller, or if it's like a whole, if it's like a, well, when I do, well, first of all, I point out the facts because a lot of sellers that aren't do real estate every day, they don't know like the cost of things. They don't know like the work that it takes or what, like they just don't know like the general cost of things. So like when they're going to sell their home and they're so used to it, they maybe they're used to it and they don't really, I don't know, they just don't, they're just so used to, their what they're living in. And sometimes, they have like an emotional attachment to it or whatever. So, but you just got to point out the facts to them. So when I'm in a negotiation with a process with a seller, and I'm looking at houses, typically they need a lot of work. So I point out, the numbers, how much it costs, to fix up these things like this, so I really use that in my negotiations. And then, the market, the market statistics, how the market is, you got to point out things like that to them. And just a lot of different things. Like I pull a lot of comps, analyzing the market, to see like what the house is going to sell for when it's fixed up or what it's going to be able to refinance at. So, you got to use that in your negotiation. If I buy your house at 170,000 and I got to put 40,000 into it, but it's only going to sell for 200, well, it's not going to work, seller. You gotta, your house isn't worth that much money, because so you just, you got to point out the facts to them and be nice to them, don't be mean. That's another thing, like you got to be kind to people. Just be honest with them and tell them the truth. And if you're honest with them, they'll work with you. So just be honest, but know what the hell you're talking about too. So do your research and know what you're talking about, but just be kind at the same time.
Yeah, that's some big stuff right there, man. Earlier you touched a little bit about bad credit, and again, just your story is super cool, man. Like I said, I know that your people are proud of you, man, and you should be proud of yourself, I hope, right? Can you touch a little bit on, what's the mindset? Like what's inside Jamar's mind, man? Like what's inside your brain? What's going on in there that keeps you going, right? That positive attitude and all that positivity.
Well, honestly, I got so much shit going on inside my head. But the things that really keep me going is my past, where I come from, my family. I mean, nobody in my family is even close to being wealthy or of that nature. So, I'm just trying to do better for myself and my family. And I just actually found out a couple of weeks ago that I got my first kid on the way. So actually, when I was growing up as a kid, my dad was in prison all my life. I never had a father figure in my life. So I feel like that might be a little bit of the reason I chose some of the bad paths that I did while I was young, because I didn't have nobody, really there to correct me. My mom, she did everything she could, but I mean, I love her to death, but I was hard-headed and I just didn't listen. So I want to really be, the best dad for my kid that I have on the way that I can, and not have him, go through the things that I did when I was growing up. So that's really one of the things that is really keeping me going as well.
Yeah, I love that, bro. And congrats. I know on social media, I dropped your congratulations, but congrats
Thank you.
here. But and the crazy thing, bro, is now that you're gonna be more motivated than ever. So I can't wait to see what the new Jamar is gonna do now that you got one of your own on the way, man. That's awesome. And then real quick, if you can touch on, because right now you said that you're putting the new one up tomorrow, which by the way, anybody check it out. You put a dope ass video out, man, and it's clean. Like you did your work, man. You did your thing on it. Can you go over those numbers for people listening, and how did you finance it?
So this house that we're in right now, I'm actually in, it's going live tomorrow. The numbers. So this one was on the MLS as well. It was actually listed for 170. It's a big house, 2-story, with a basement. It's about 2,000 square feet, 3-bed, 4-bath. So 170. And the exterior was good. The foundation was good. The big ticket items were good. It just needed a lot of cosmetic updates. So 170 was fairly low for this. I ended up buying it for 200,000. I got into a bidding war with a couple people. I financed it with my private money lender, all cash deal. That is also a good thing to have when you're in a hot market and you're competing with a lot of people. That cash offer is huge, because you got that fast close. Typically no inspections if you do your own due diligence or whatever. So I found this on the MLS. Ended up buying it for 200,000 with my private money lender. I pay him, I think, $3,000 a month or something like that. So, and I put about 50,000 into it. I did a lot of work to this house though. And I got it going live on the market tomorrow for 289. So I'd say I'm all in for about 265 or so. I got it going on the market at 290. So I'll make about 25,000, but or something of that. I hope it sells for a little bit more. Honestly, that I feel like I'm listing it low. The market is still a little bit competitive. There's a lot of buyers out there, even with the interest rates going up. I feel like they've actually dropped a little bit recently again. So there's still a lot of buyers, especially here in Lincoln, Nebraska, where we're at, a really, really competitive market. So I got it going live at 289. I hope it sells for more than that, but we'll see what happens.
No, and we talked a little bit about that, man. So I kind of knew your answers, but it's gonna do good, man. It's a great area. So, and like I said, check out his video if you guys haven't. It's amazing, like the stuff that he did to it. And I'm starting a money lending company too, man. So if you need money, your credit is good with me. All right. Your ambition is enough for me. But since we're in the subject, bro, because obviously as me kind of being on that side of things, right? Like looking at starting this new company, obviously it's a good deal for me, but can you give us, maybe some things to keep in mind when you do the hard money? Because I feel like you have to be real careful when you move. And so if you could give the listeners just some tips and stuff on just the hard money lending, if that's the route they want to go with.
So like some tips on hard, break it down a little bit for me.
Yeah. So
I'm dumb sometimes.
no, you're good. So basically, obviously, the interest rates are way higher, right? So that
Yeah.
requires a higher payment while you're
Yep.
fixing it. So just what are some of the stuff that you need to keep in mind for those people that are listening to your story? Because it is very inspirational, but you're no dummy either, right? Let's make that very clear. And I'm gonna make it very clear because there's a lot of real estate investors or people that want to play the game. But just like basketball, there's a lot of basketball players, but there's only one Kobe, right? There's only one LeBron. So keep that in mind when you jump into a new business. So the way that you're moving, how are you moving with at least the hard money part being smart, so that way you don't get into something that could potentially bring you down, if that makes sense? And what are some of the, for example, a tip that I can think right away would be fix it fast, right? Like that's definitely probably the number one thing. But if you could give us a few pointers on that.
Okay. Yeah. So when you're working with a hard money lender or a private money lender, yeah, there's definitely a lot of things you want to keep in mind, because, you got, first of all, a lot of money on the line, and you want to keep a good relationship with these people. I'm all about building good relationships and things like that. So, you want to get it done quick. So you want to have a really solid team lined up, before you even, get into asking, private money lenders for deals and things like that. Have a solid team lined up, have a plan outlined, and just have everything, in order, lined up. And so you have, so nothing's, so in case something goes wrong, you know what to do. And also, obviously have a little bit of money saved up in case, something does go wrong and you need to, you want to be able to make your mortgage payments every month, and you want to be able to, have, money away for any unexpected expenses or unexpected problems that come up in the process. You always got to think about things like that as well. So just have a little bit of money saved up in case anything unusual happens. Have a good team, lined up to knock out that renovation or whatever you plan on doing, and just have everything outlined that you're going to do in the house.
Love that. Go ahead.
One book that I really recommend actually is the book on flipping houses. It's literally called The Book on Flipping Houses. It's a really good read. It puts everything out there for you. If you're even a seasoned investor or seasoned flipper or brand new, I recommend getting that book, because that's one book that really, really helped me out. Like when I bought my first house, I didn't know anything, but I had a plan. I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything about the process, but I had a team lined up. I had a plan, and I had a little bit of money saved up from my wholesale deals. So yeah, I ordered that book as soon as I got that house under contract, and I used it the whole way. So,
man, that's amazing, bro. I love that. And one thing that you touched on there, those are great tips, by the way. And one thing that you touched on there is you said you got to have a little money. And I feel like that's my biggest argument, right? Because yes, I feel like people got the OPM confused, other people's money, that Rich Dad Poor Dad talks about a lot. It doesn't mean that you can't, that basically people took that as if I'm using zero of my money. I mean, technically, even just making the interest payments only, I mean, that's part of your money. So right. I feel like you made a big point there, because there's so many people that ask me, hey, how do you do it with no money? And I always tell them, I'm like, hey, man, I would say, and maybe for anybody listening, like, I would say save up 30 to 50K before you even jump on something. And again, that's just me being super right, because things will go wrong. I promise you that things will go wrong. And if you jump in something that you have no idea, especially if it is something new. I mean, so I love that you did that, because with the wholesaling, you did stack up a little bit of change, right? To have that behind you and put into work. So if you could touch a little more on that, because I think it's very important for people that, and I've even talked to bankers, man. I've talked to a lot of bankers actually about this matter, and they're always like, oh yeah, no, all the people saying, oh yeah, no money down, and all this, you could definitely do it with way less money, right? With bad credit, right? With a felony, like all these things that could have kept you down, but you overcame them. But you were smart. You had that little, right, quote unquote, because I know I paid you, right? But if you could touch on that, bro, just because I think that's very important.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, a lot of investors, they do leverage other people's money, but I don't recommend going into any deal with no money, because it's just not smart to do. I mean, you want to have that safety cushion. And, even though I do use a private money lender to buy the house, but I actually do use my own cash to do all the rehabs on the house. So, but I will never, I'll never like buy a house that's going to use up all my cash. Like you got to have that safety cushion. So, actually, it's funny that you recommended 20 to 50K to anybody before they get started, because what I always tell my friends is, at least, you want to have at least 30K. So, that falls almost right in the middle between 20
I
to
know,
50.
I said 30 to 50. So we're right on the money.
30 to 50?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I recommend, at least 30K. I think maybe not the cheapest thing that you can buy, but on the cheaper side of a renovation that you can get and make some money is probably going to be, at least 15 to 20,000. So you want to have at least a $10,000 cushion before you.
And I just want you to know, Jamar, that this is powerful, bro. We're covering a very big subject that, for one, it makes people believe, which is great. But, I don't want people to jump in on something that they can't get out of and could back them up a few years. So I love, I feel like this has been very powerful in that regard. Even if you're about to keep a place, I mean, I've bought places that look brand new, that will have flooring, paint, I mean, everything, but then the water heater goes out, and then the AC goes out at the same, like, and this is true story. I'm not even making anything up. Like the water heater, then the AC a week later, and then some plumbing and electrical stuff that come up to where now you're 20 into that place that you thought was just automatic. So it's very important for people to really pay attention to that. And again, that I'm not a guru. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, hey, or a fake guru, I should say, because, we're gurus in this But I love your story, bro. This has been amazing. And, I wish we could take a little bit longer, but I know you got your stuff going on, man. You got your birthday coming up, so you got to get ready for that. I'm going to ask you a few questions that I ask all my guests at the end. And the first one, which the whole time that you were describing your story, I wrote a book called The Power of Being Uncomfortable, right? And I literally, that's all I could think of as you were giving us the story. So with that being said, the question that I have for you based on that book is, what is one way that you got uncomfortable that paid off?
One way that I got uncomfortable that paid off was buying a house that I bought my first fix and flip, and I had never done it before, and I didn't even know what the hell, how to run a nail gun. But I read a book, I had everything lined out, and it paid off, because now, I mean, I made enough off of that flip, and I feel like I'll make a decent amount off of this flip to, I feel like I got, a good foundation that I can just keep going. And in 6 months, what I've accomplished in the past 6 months it's almost like unheard of. I mean, the numbers that I've seen and the deals that I've done. And I mean, yeah, it really paid off. I took a risk, and I took it by myself, and I was like, I'm gonna get a loan for this house, and I'm gonna try to flip it. And I didn't know what I was doing, but it paid off for sure.
Man, yeah, powerful, man. Powerful. And I know you're young, but obviously, even looking back, because I'm a big believer that every day you're a different person from yesterday, and if you're not, something's wrong. You're not working on yourself to make that happen. And with that being said, what is one advice of wisdom that you would give yourself, your younger self, looking back now?
I feel like I should have got started sooner. I feel like don't I feel like don't just don't be just don't be scared. I mean, I feel like success lies on the other side of fear, just like it says in Rich Dad Poor Dad. I mean, success it's literally right on the other side of fear. Just don't be scared, but don't be stupid. Take the risk, but do it smart, and it'll pay off. I feel like, but you definitely got to take risk. I mean, anything worth it is not easy, but if it was easy, then everybody would do it. So, I mean, it's up to you.
Man, yeah, powerful, bro. And if there was a 3-step formula to success that if you do these 3 things, you're going to succeed, you're not going to lose, what are the 3 steps?
Be consistent, be committed, and be honest. I feel like if you do anything in life, if you're consistent and you're committed and you're honest with it, it'll be successful.
Love it, man. And if you were to write a book, what would be the theme or the title of it?
What would be the theme or the title of it?
And or title, yep. Ambition.
I have thought about it, and I was thinking I was thinking it'd be something like felon to something, like felon to fame or felon to millions or something like that, just because I feel like that everybody looks so bad upon felons and felonies and things like that, and I feel like it holds a lot of people back, and it really shouldn't. And if you're one of those people and you do have a felony, it's possible. And I just want to prove that to everybody. Yeah, I'm a felon, but I'm far from a bad person or whatever. So I would definitely include something like that in the title, just to let it be known, it's possible. So I would say like something like felon to something like that.
And I like that, bro, because I feel like nowadays a lot of people are scared to own their story, and that's something that at the end, that's a fake, right? So I love that. I love the fact that you're coming out like, hey, I'm owning it. Like, I did it, right? And because you're taking that ownership is obviously where you're at, because a lot of people don't take ownership. So I love that, man. That was powerful. And real quick, bro, if you could let everybody listening know where they can find you on social media, website, etc.
Yeah, so my Facebook, Jamar Hudson is my name. You can find me on Facebook, Jamar Hudson, Instagram, official Jamar. I actually got a website too. If you type in my name into Google, jamarhudson.com, it'll bring up my website. It's just JAMARHUDSON.com. And yeah, if you got any deals, anything real estate related, you can always give me a call as well. All my information's on my website. So yeah, jamarhudson.com.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. That was my last question was, if there's anybody listening, what's something that they can bring to you that would benefit, that you could benefit from? Which, I mean, you pretty much said it. I mean, you got deals out there, anything like that. I mean,
you can always bring me deals, but if anybody, has any questions or, anything about getting started investing in real estate or anything, about my story, or if you relate to me anyway and something's holding you back that I've overcame or anything like that, I do find value in helping other people out. So if you have any questions to get started and invest in real estate, or have anything, any questions at all that I can help you out, I do find value in that. So if you have any questions, please reach out, ask me questions, whatever. So.
Well,
Yeah.
I want to thank you, bro. Again, happy birthday. Congrats on the baby and all the major things that you're doing, man. I can't wait to see what's next, man. And I can already tell you it's going to be some major stuff. So, as always, any deals, man, hit me up too. Oh, and by the way, I just want to thank you for that PS5 too, because part of the house that you sold me was that PS5, man. And I can't. Man, I'm thankful for that. That you still can't find them. So
I know that's crazy, huh?
So, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I want to thank you so much for allowing me to come on here and just tell my story. It means a lot to me. So thank you as well.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. Everybody follow Jamar, and then make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube, Billy the Kid, DHAKIDD. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and follow the $1 Million Hustle Pod. That's where everything is for the podcast. So other than that, we'll see you guys on the next one. Vamonos.
All they did was laugh at me and said I couldn't do it. Never paid attention to him, to myself I proved it. That have a mentality like Kobe, I just shoot it. Had some dreams, I wrote them down, I hustled and pursued it.